Yeah, how's it going, everyone? My name is Earlmeister, and today we are going to be talking about the meta of Set 5 Shimmering Skies in Disney Lorcana. So it's been a few weeks now, and I think the meta is starting to settle down. It was much faster back in the days when what we were not supposed to mention is still live, and things were much faster when it comes to meta settling back in the days, but it's totally fine. We still have PB Connect, which is really fun and a really good way to test out your decks. And I think last weekend would be the perfect point in this new meta where we can finally start talking about it and see which decks are popping off. So we have here CCS 10K, and we have the Malmo game week that happened on Sweden, and we're gonna talk about the meta. So pretty much everything that we saw on Set 5 is still here, and the rogue decks back then are starting to come back, and also there are other decks that is being played at the moment, like some aggro decks like this, especially this as well. This is more of like a fast mid-range mid-grow deck when I check it out, and of course we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the top fours of both of these, but we'll look at it as a top 8. So as we can see, we have Steel Blue. Steel Blue. We have we have Steel Sapphire. We still have Ruby Sapphire that's doing really well. It got number 2. We also got Ruby Amethyst, of course. This is like I'm pretty sure this is the biggest share, right? This is the biggest share of the meta right now. Surprisingly, after Toronto, I think Ruby Amethyst was really good there. It's just like sometimes stars doesn't align for you, and the Ruby Amethyst players didn't really get up there. Or a lot of them didn't get up there, just like what we usually see back on the previous DLCs for Set 4 and just the meta in general with Set 4. But Ruby Amethyst definitely is still tier 1, and again, Steel Sapphire is tier 1, Ruby Sapphire is tier 1. Steel Song is tier 1. Surprisingly, it's a Steel Song that we do not we do not expect to be up here, but it's Brennan DeCandio, so it's no surprise. And he told me about this too, that he's gonna make lanterns good again. And I believed him. I never for one second believed. I never for one second doubted his skills in terms of creating decks and his performance with it as well. Now, is it gonna work for everyone? Is it gonna work out for everyone? That type of Steel Song, maybe not, but definitely it's something to be aware of, because if Brennan is running it, most likely a lot of people will follow his footsteps. And also, lastly, I want to talk about, well, first, Amber Emerald aggro, and we still have Amber Emerald Sync together as well. That's been being played a lot. But this mid-grow deck right here is something that's pretty interesting. And lastly, like what I said, I kind of did something for the meta. I created a tempo tool mid-range that's been seeing a lot of play in different locals, different tournaments, and has been seeing a lot of success. So that deck has joined the meta as well. It's no longer fast mid-range for green purple. The reason why, and this is part of the meta talk as well, not just about my green purple deck. This is not about my green purple deck. This is a talk about meta in general. When I built this deck, right, what did I see with the meta? Number 1, I played a lot of aggro decks before I started playing this on the start of the Set 5. And what did I notice is that everyone is playing to beat aggro. So when aggro joins the meta, in most card games, especially in Lorcana, aggro in general sets the pace of the speed for the game. It says that, okay, you can no longer play slow. This is what we're going to play. And if you're playing slow decks, we're going to punish you. We're going to take that win for free. And when I built this deck, I saw the old version, and I saw some people running their decks as well during set 5. This is like about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago now, when I built this deck. I told myself, do I really want to play like everyone else and they're trying to make the old green purple work? Or do I want to step out of that? Because I don't want to play into the meta. Like, I don't want to play into the meta that everyone is countering something fast. So why don't I make something thicker and try to punish those decks that are trying to punish the faster decks? And I think in general, you'll be able to do that with a fast curve when you're creating a deck, but at the same time, make the deck flexible, and green has a lot of those cards. Make the deck flexible and thicken up to be able to outvalue and out-tempo most decks out there that are trying to punish aggro. And that's basically the idea behind the deck, and it got first and fourth on this one. But before we go into this, let's talk about CCS first. So CCS top 8, we've got 1 blue steel, we have 2 ruby sapphire, we have 3 ruby amethyst, and that's my deck as well right there by Corey Anderson. These decks are the exact copy of the deck that I'm running. We have 1 green purple mid-range, and we also have a mid-range steel song by Brennan DeCandio. And like what I said, ruby amethyst, people have been asking me, where's Ruby Amethyst at this set, Earl? Is it still good? Is it still tier 1? And I've always told them, because on the first week, I joined a Win-A-Box and I won the Win-A-Box using Ruby Amethyst. And I told them that it's still there. I just don't play it right now because I'm trying to explore the meta. I'm trying to explore set 5, and I don't want to burn myself out with the game. Playing the same deck for like 3 sets now, which I've been doing. And of course, I tried other decks as well. But I've been playing a lot of Ruby Amethyst, and I kind of wanted something different. And does that mean that I'm going to be leaving Ruby Amethyst? No, we're not going to be leaving Ruby Amethyst. Ruby Amethyst is still super, 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 super strong. And if I go to a serious event, this is definitely one of the decks that I will consider bringing. But yeah, unfortunately, Ruby Amethyst didn't get to see semifinals. I was rooting for Kendall to get there. No offense, Jose Feliciano. I think you played really, really well. But I wanted to see a Steel Song, Ruby Amethyst battle between Kendall and Brennan. But yeah, so in general, before we hop into this, like what I said, aggro has set the pace for the meta. Daisy Duck is just a card that you can't really ignore. The speed that it can provide for a deck is pretty insane. Steel Song is even running it, and they went for a faster version of Steel Song. And obviously, this is not the Steel Song that we see over here, but it's still there. People are playing that fast version. Also, I want to mention in general, it's not just Steel Song that's playing it. Amber Emerald is playing it. Amber Amethyst Hyper Aggro is playing it. Even Ruby Amber with Mufasa is playing it. Like what I said, it's a super fast card, and at the same time, it's able to withstand a lot of steel pings. And what you need to expect when the meta is fast is a lot of the decks are scared of losing to aggro. So expect that blue-red is going to be running cards, or blue-steel, right? Or ruby amethyst, they're going to be running cards that basically allows them to survive those decks because they're more on the control side of things, and control, it's all about adjusting for them. They don't set the pace for the meta. They're the ones who adapt and adjust to the pace that is set by aggro. And mid-range as well is in a great place. Of course, if aggro is joining the meta, mid-range beats aggro in general, and so we see a lot of mid-range. All right, so let's go check the top 4. Let's go start with Zarek Zubkosk. Let's go check his deck out. This is one of the things that I wanted to talk about as well. The return of Olaf and Mini is back. Why, Earl? Why is Olaf coming back? Why is Mini coming back? There's a lot of steel decks out there. Edmund Chu played Emerald Steel. There's still Steel Blue as well. There's also Purple Steel that's always been a rogue deck for the meta, and I think it's better than it ever was compared to its old version. Also, Steel Song is super meta right now. And that is why you see a lot of minis and Olaf being ran again. I haven't updated my list for this, but I'm definitely going to make room for either 4 1-3s on as a 1 cost or 6 1-3s for my 1 cost. I like flexibility, so I don't think I'm going to go for this, but this is definitely a solid play right here. Now, we see Madam M Snake. We also see 4 Flynn Riders at turn 2. Which is what we saw in set 4, and it's been proven to do well because Flynn is just really good against matchups where you're playing against blue. Because Flynn punishes those type of decks. It provides some aggro aspects to this deck. And then we also have Snake. We also have the Fox. And the return of the Crab is here. When you have these amount of 1-3s, the Crab is just very, very, very cash money. It has so many targets, and it just allows you to take the board so early. We also have 4 Sisus, and of course the Merlin Rabbits, the Goats, and this one is also running 4 Elsas. This is one of the new cards that has been seeing a lot of play because it just does everything, right? It has Rush, it has Evasive, and it can exert a character. This deck is not even running any brawls anymore because they're like, you know what? If you were gonna play Diablo, I'll just play Elsa on turn 5, and I will be able to take out that Diablo. And they play a really strong early game anyways, and they'll be able to take the board. So they can put some pressure on the board while Diablo is trying to do its very slow shenanigans. I wouldn't say I was never a fan of Diablo, but I've always think that Diablo is just too slow. It was really good because of Bucky. If you play that, then the opponent discards a card. But now I feel like it's a bit slow and it's just easy to punish. On a meta where there's a lot of steals, they're just gonna ping that so easy, and they will move on with their life. Next one is 3 Lady Remains, 3 Medusas. This deck right here is just super heavy on the control side. It doesn't care about the early game with removals like Brawl. This deck is just screaming value to me. Let's drop the 1-3s, buff it with a Merlin Crab. Make sure that we have a target with Madam and Fox. Let's take the board early, and then let's just remove everything through Tremaines, through Medusas, through Beaking Undisputeds, right? And be prepared as well. Well done, Zarek. I really like this list. I think this is a pretty solid list, and it makes everything super simple. Let's have a super tough early game and mid game, and come late game, it's going to be hard to outvalue a deck like this, especially when it's not a 2-2 anymore. You have 3 of Medusa and Tremaine. I really like your deck. Big round of applause for Zarek. The next one is by Kendall. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. This one is running the traditional Chernabogs Magic Room. We got the Snakes, we got the Flints, we got the Fox, 2 Merlin Crabs. This is kind of like my version from set 4. I was only running 2 Merlin Crabs, although I really like 3 right now. 4 might be a little too much, but at the same time, if you're running those minis and Olaf's is just super solid. Sisu, Merlin Goat, Merlin Rabbit, Maui, and this one is not running any Tremaines, no Beakings as well, and it has 3 Medusas, 1 Sisu, 4 Brawls, 4 Friends on the Other Side, 4 Be Prepareds, and 2 Libraries, and 4 Queen's Castle. This one It's definitely something different from what we just saw. This feels like more of the traditional set for Ruby Amethyst that we usually see. It doesn't have any of the Elsas, and honestly, Zarek is not wrong. Kendall is not wrong. It's really a matter of like preference at the end of the day for these decks. They just have so many tools now, and you basically pick what you prefer to win against or lose against, or what do you prefer to like strengthen more. But other than that, I think the deck is pretty great. This with this and the library is a really great way to just keep drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. But yeah, there's really not much to say about this deck except that it's super solid. It's just like the set 4 vibe, except this time we have libraries in the deck, which I am very high on. I really like the library. The next one is Jose Feliciano. He probably hates me so much because during the stream, he probably don't. But like, I feel like if he listens to my stream, I keep saying that I wanted to see Kendall and what do you call this? I wanted to see Kendall and the Candio face each other. But I have nothing against this player, just so you guys know. It's just I wanted to see two of like more famous people to battle each other out, who are famous for both of those decks. But Jose Feliciano, congratulations! This is an amazing performance, especially on a set where a lot of people are doubting these color combinations. So we have Chicha here. We have 3 Chichas. We have 4 Tipos. We have 4 Grammatalas, 4 Hiram, 4 Mauis, 4 Medusas, 3 Scar, which is something that we don't usually see this many. Usually you'll see like maybe 1 of 2 ofs, but never 3 for this deck. And I think this is a great call because there's a lot of like mid-range decks right now, and it's a pretty good like answer to aggro as well, because if you develop a popsicle right on turn 1 and then you start ramping, and then you get Scar will wipe up the board, popsicle will heal it, and it's basically a one-sided be prepared, which is very nice. And after that we also have Mufasa, and it has 3 Mufasas, which is very surprising because a lot of people after the hype for Mufasa kind of went out of Mufasa. They're now running like maybe 1 or 2 under decks. I am a big fan of Mufasa. I like Mufasa. He's so much fun to play with, and this is probably the spiciest blue-red deck that I've ever seen so far in set 5. And of course we have the 4 Tamatoas and 4 Maleficents. This one also has fully cut Develop Your Brain, because I think as well that Vision of the Future is just much better. Instead of digging for 2 cards or the 2 cards from the top of your deck, why not 5? Why not 5? It's just much easier to find the answer. Find your Be Prepareds. Find your Scars, right? Find your Mufasas. Find your Tamatoas. Find your Dimes. Next one is One Jump Ahead. This one, we have 3 copies, and I think the only reason why we have 3 copies of this is because we have a lot of typos, so there's just many other choices in terms of ramping. Now we also have Be Prepared. We have 4 of them. Of course, to a great reset button. We have 3 Vitalis Spears, 4 Popsicles, 4 Fishbone, and 2 Lucky Dimes. So everything else, aside from Mufasa and Scar, and of course Chicha, everything is basically what we would expect. And I know this is a set 5 card, but this is not something that we do not expect anymore, because this is just an upgraded version of Develop Your Brain, in my opinion. Chicha, though, is a pretty cool addition to this. It's just extra draws. It's no longer fully reliant on Hiram Flaversham, which is really nice, because this deck was relying too much on Flaversham for draws before. Now we have Chicha that can help out. You know, while you're ramping, you also have a 2/1 body that has support, and at the same time, you get draws. You get some money back from what you spend with ramping. Other than that, GG's, Jose Feliciano. You did a great job on this event, especially with a lot of Ultra Megatonic names slicing and dicing in it. Now, the next one is for Brennan DeCandio. This one is another super spicy deck because everyone is playing Daisy right now on this deck. Everyone is on that flute. Everyone is on that super ultra megatonic speed version of this deck. They're playing fast mid range, but the Candio is like, hold on a second, hold my beer, right? Let me show you the power of lanterns, and I really like that. I respect that. You know, he loves his lanterns, right? And he made it work, and he got number one with it. This is an ultra megatonic solid mid-range, can even be classified as mid-range control with the amount of removals that it has or pings that it has. So this one is also only running 17 songs. I know it sounds crazy. A lot of people would be like, why are we running 17 songs? We don't want to whip out an ultra megatonic play with Ariel, but the Candio said 17 is enough. We don't need any more than 17. And I really like that. Now let's go ahead and dissect the deck. So we have Cinderella. Cinderella has returned, right? This is a really good card for a deck like this because this is playing for tempo. This is a mid-range at its core, and you can see from the curve as well, right? You can see that that it's really high on 2 and 3s and a bunch of removals through songs. And Cinderella is just really awesome with that because Cinderella will play and it's most likely going to remove something on turn by turn 2. And we also have Robin Hood, of course. We only have Cinderella and Robin Hood for turn 1. We have 3 Piglets. We have 3 Ursulas, a flexible choice. If he wants to go defensive, then he can play Ursula. If he wants to go vroom vroom, against the matchups where where it's weak, right? Because it's a mid-range deck and it's going to be weak against control. Then it has that choice of going vroom vroom, which is Piglet. And Mr. Smee is just a great card. It's in the middle of both. It can do speed and it can also control the board. It can provide tempo for the board. The next one is we have Ariel, of course. It's a Steel Song deck. We have 4 copies of Pete, which is ultra megatonic. It's an insurance that makes sure that everything that you build after a whole new world, you just play it, so they can't really remove anything, and it doesn't matter what they drew. The next one is for Prince Naveen's. This one I like. I think this card should be a 4 of. In most Steel Song decks, there might be some Steel Song where it's not going to run 4 ofs, but I think this card is just ultra megatonic. You play an Ariel on 3, and then you play Prince Naveen on 4 to sing whatever Ariel drew. And that's just a nice insurance, right? Because Ariel, if you play Ariel, there's a chance that it's going to get brawled. It's going to get removed by a pinger, right? But Prince Naveen says, don't you worry, Ariel. Whatever song that you found from our deck, I'm just going to force sing it on turn 4, which is really nice. And then we have Rapunzel's, of course, which is a great combination with Smee and a great combination with a thick deck like this because you have Smees, you have Ursulas, you have Pete's, you have Robin Hoods, even Prince Naveen, right? You can at least get a couple of draws from those, especially with Robin Hood. And this one is also still running the super ultra megatonic scary Cinderella at turn 7 or the 7 cost Cinderella. I really like that. The next one for the song choice that we have here, we have 4 Let the Storm Rage On, 3 And Then Along Came Zeus, Strength of the Raging Fire, 4 A Whole New Worlds, and only 2 Bare Necessities. If we notice as well that he fully cut Grab Your Swords, and I like that. I like that because it's a mid-range deck. The matchups where you're gonna need Grab Your Swords, you're already usually winning that. You have all these swingers, you have all these bodies, value bodies that can trade against super fast decks, right? Why do we need Grab Your Swords to battle those fast decks? And the thing about Grab Your Swords as well, it's just really weak against control matchups. you can't really use grab your swords in those matchups. There's very few what do you call this situations where grab your swords is gonna benefit you, and if you have it on your hand, it's just gonna be stuck there. It's a 5 cost uninkable that just gets stuck in your hand on certain matchups, and I like that decision. It's a very ultra megatonic move, and it requires a lot of it requires a lot of knowledge and self-control to cut such card. And of course, last but not the least, the lanterns. The lanterns, I am a fan of the lanterns as well. I do like speed, but ramping is just a lot of fun, right? And the thing is, in a deck like this, when you can ramp, it just goes vroom vroom. It just goes ultra megatonic. You can put down your Cinderella much faster. You can put down your Robin Hoods much faster. And let's not forget as well the amount of 1 cost and 2 costs for this deck. If you have a lantern, then you just go vroom vroom. It opens up a power play. If you have a 5 ink, right, then you can play a big Robin Hood and a Cinderella, or even a small Robin Hood and a big Robin Hood on that same turn. And it's just really, really nice to see that Lantern is back again. And that's thanks to Renan DeCandio. Again, brother, firm handshakes. Well played as always. Now let's go ahead and check out the Malmo game week. So our top 4 right here is, or let's look at the top 8. We got 2 Sisu on Ice. We got 2 Ruby Amethyst. Again, these ones performed really well on the other tournament, and they still performed well here. Top 8 is no joke. Getting to top 8 on an Ultra Megaton tournament is pretty hard. And then we have the 2 of of my deck, Tempo Tool Midrange. These are the 2 exact copies of my deck, so we're most likely just going to talk about one of them to save you some time as well. And I'll show you anyways that it's exactly the same. I mean, it's right there, 199.39, right? And then we have this super spicy deck right here, a 0 to hero Steel Song, and we have an Amber Emerald mid-grow or fast mid-range, as I would like to call it. This one right here, let's look at this. We're gonna skip Shizu. Again, this is the deck list, and like what I told you, it's exactly the same deck list as top 1 because I already checked them, and I also know every single card in my deck. Next one is Steel Song. Here we go. Let's go cover up the Steel Song with 0 to hero. This right here, at first look, you can already tell this is a true mid-range deck. It's gonna play hard for what do you call this? It's gonna play hard for tempo, but it's also running some Daisy Ducks on turn 1. I'm not sure if this is the actual Daisy Duck that they ran, or maybe it was supposed to be 4 daisies. But this one is super flexible. It has speed. It has the ultra megatonic bodies, and it's just pretty vroom vroom. It's pretty vroom vroom with a card like this. So let's start with the 1 cost. We have Cinderella right here. We can go over here. It's probably much better to do it like this. We got Cinderella right here. 4 of them, 2 Daisy Ducks, 2 of these Daisy Ducks. If this Daisy is actually was supposed to be here, I can kind of see why. It's a 1/3 body. It's the same idea that we use with the Olafs and Minis. And also we have 4 copies of Robin Hoods. It has 1 Be Our Guest to look for a certain body, I guess. Especially the big ones. It's a great way to find your Chant Post. It's a great way to find your Tinkerbells and Cinderella. We have 4 Smees, we have 3 Ursulas, and we have 3 0 to hero, like what I said. We also have Ariels. We have Let the Storm Rage On, 4 of them. 2 copies of Pete, 4 Strength of the Raging Fire. We have 2 Naveen's, 4 Rapunzels, 4 A Whole New World, 2 Chenpo, ultra megatonic scary body for a mid-range deck like this. We have 2 Mirabelles as well, which is super surprising to finally see some play, and this deck got we're on top 3 right now, yeah. This deck got top 3, which is super surprising to me. This can be a very, very, very scary card if it can actually come out. It doesn't have a lot of answers. Especially if you get to play a turn 1 Daisy, turn 2 Daisies, turn or turn 2 Cinderella and Daisy, turn 3 you drop a couple of cards, and then you 0 to hero with Cinderella. Boom, here's your Mirabelle. Again, very impressive that this deck performed that well. We also have 2 Ultra Megatonic Robin Hoods, the big ones. We have 4 Tinkerbells, and we have 3 Cinderellas. I think it's much easier to look at it from this. It's pretty easy to see what the deck does, right? The deck is all about, let's drop a bunch of 1 costs and 2 costs, and then let's go sing 0 to hero, and let's bring in the big boys. We have 4 Strength of the Raging Fire here, and we have Let the Storm Rage On to help with the tempo, of course. But this deck is not running any Zeus at all. It's not running any Grab Your Swords, any Zeus. It's more of a proactive deck instead of a reactive deck. It's saying that, okay, this is my game plan. I'm going to set up an Ultra Megatonic board. Let's see if you can answer it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's trying to do. It's trying to 0 to hero and bring in a Champo to protect these small bodies. It's trying to 0 to hero and bring in a 5 questing 5/5 body Mirabelle. It's trying to bring 0 to hero if it's on the defense. Then it brings Tinkerbell. And it's also trying to 0 to hero, right? And just bring, I think you can put this at a turn 3? No, turn 3 or 4. Turn 3 or 4, you can bring down a Cinderella and just say, hey, I'm going to slice you and dice you with Big Cindy. I really, really like this deck. These are the type of decks that I'm always excited to see on these tournaments. It's a super, super, super spicy deck. It's proactive instead of reactive, right? And it can do some reactive plays as well with Strength of the Raging Fire and Let the Storm Rage On. But it's just super scary. Decks like this, if you do not know that it's coming for you, it's going to slice you and dice you because you think that you're playing against a regular Steel Song, and then boom, comes Chenpo. Boom comes Mirabelle. Boom comes Tinkerbell early. Boom comes Cinderella. It's an Ultra Megatonic deck, and I really, really like this. Congratulations to Jonas, Benzarati, Makram. You did really, really well making this deck, and I am a big, big fan of the deck. I enjoyed this a lot. Just looking at it just sounds like this is something that I would run. This is something that I would play because it just sounds so much fun. And fun is priority, and at the same time, it's winning. So why not do fun and winning? Next one is Amber Emerald by Simon. Is it Dode or Dodd? Widdle. Simon, this is his deck. It's Amber Emerald mid-gross, what I would like to call this. This is not really a true aggro deck. With this curve right here, this is not really a true aggro deck, right? This is more, it falls more into the mid-grow side of things. So let's take a look at it. So it has 2 Clarabelles, 1 Curse Merfolk, 4 Daisy Ducks, right? It has that aggro aspects, a heavy aggro aspect. That's why it still fall into the mid-grow. It has 4 Lilos, 4 Pegasus, and 4 the Queens. That is 4, 8, 12, 16, 19 1-drops in total. And we also have 4 Piglets, 4 Ursulas, of course. And on turn 3, we have the Balus and the Clarabelles to refill our hand in case we don't have this Clarabelle, or to buy time to get to this Clarabelle. Then we have Donald Duck And then Hey as well. This is a very surprising tech for a deck like this, but this is a super spicy deck. I'm super glad to see these type of decks being run and finding success at the moment. And then, of course, 3 Kit Cloud Kickers to make sure that you protect your smallings, right? The small characters. And then we have 4 Rapunzels, 3 Pegasus, 3 the Queens for the ship. Pegasus to protect stuff. The Queen is probably to ship the Queen and take out other daisies, or it can just quest, and at the same time, like what I said, it's what a mid-grow deck does. It's an aggro deck that has mid-range aspects to it, and it's going to try to control the board while it's questing. It's going to try to get tempo while it's questing, right? And this is the job of what do you call this? This is the job of the Queen. This is the job of where's Kit? Kit Cloud Kicker, right? And then you have 4 Shift Clarabelles, of course, because this is a super low curve. You're just burning your hands. Burn, right? And then comes turn 5, here's a Clarabelle. Let's go refill our hand. And then last but not the least, because it's so heavy on the bodies, if your opponent a whole new world's you with this, it just feels so good because everything that's going to be on your discard pile is bodies, and Chernabox is just going to be super cheap when that happens, and you just play it, and now you have a 9/9 card that can quest for 3. That's super fast, super scary, and hard to deal with. Other than that, like what I said, the deck is still super aggro, right? But it has mid-range aspects on it. And I talk about these decks like this, so when you pick it up, you'll know exactly how to play it. You don't just exert with this deck. There are turns where you actually trade with this deck. Of course, the goal of it is still to finish as fast as they can, but they can actually afford to do some trades here and there. Last but not the least, I'm so proud of this. Again, Shizu and Sander, you guys did a great job with this. These are 2 exact copies of my deck. Now, just to be clear, Sander messaged me after his win, and he wanted to clarify this. He picked up my deck before. Now, I made changes to the deck about 4 or 5 days ago. And before I made those changes, it's only like a two card difference. Before I made those changes, he actually was preparing for the thing, and he made those 2 changes, and the next day I made the changes, and it just so happened to be the exact same changes. I think it's just a coincidence, right? I'm not gonna accuse him of like, well, you just didn't want to admit it, but you did this to me. He's very honest with it. He told me and approached me because, of course, he wanted to take pride on his creation as well. Well, his updated version of my deck, basically. And great minds think alike. So the Cricky is an obvious upgrade for this deck, and that's basically what it was. It used to be running 2 Kit Cloud Kickers and an Anna. He took out the Kit, he took out the Anna. I did the same thing the next day. I took out the Kit, I took out the Anna, and then I put the 2 Crickies in the deck. So he also said that to practice for this, he watched every single day of my stream when I was playing this deck. And I'm very glad that I could somewhat help out to secure this first place. But other than that, it still comes down to Sander. I'm not going to take that away from him. Sander, you played very well. And again, this is a super hard deck to pilot. This is not one of those decks that you can just pick up and slice and dice with people. This is a tempo tool mid-range deck. Mid-range in general is super hard to play already. Now, if you turn a mid-range deck into a tool deck, it's even harder because you got to know your matchups, right? You got to know which tool of that deck is perfect for that certain matchup. And this is why you're going to see a lot of 2-ofs. You have 2-ofs Rafiki. You have 2-ofs Cogsworth. You got 2-ofs Mother Gothel. You got a 1-of of Kid Cloud Kicker, 2-ofs of Lyle. You got 2-ofs of Creaky, you got 2-ofs of Elsa, 2-ofs of Mother Gothel, 2-ofs of Ursula, 2 ofs of Your Welcome and 2 ofs of Queen's Castle, and then you got 1 library, and you have 1 Chromicon, right? This is the first time I posted this, a lot of people on Facebook was like, what is this, Earl? This is a meme deck. This is super inconsistent. And I'm like, you just don't know how to play the game. I didn't say that, of course. That would be mean. But the thing is, I have a lot of experience in this game. I play more than, I would say, 99.9% of the people. Very few people play more than I do. And this is because I stream every day. I play this game for like 5 to 6, sometimes 7 to 8 hours on my stream. And then on top of that, behind the stream, I do LGS stuff. I play on my local tournaments, win a box, leagues, right? And also on top of that, I do coaching. And while I'm coaching, while I'm teaching stuff to my students, by the way, if you're interested, link will be down on the description below for the coaching if you guys want some coaching. During those times, while I'm teaching them, I'm also learning something new here and there, right? But yeah, this deck is all about choosing the right tool for certain matchup. Like what I said, it's tough to file it, but it's very rewarding. As you can see, you have Rafiki and Clarabelle and Cogsworth, right? Obviously, you always don't want to play Cogsworth on turn 1. But your choices with Clarabelle and Rafiki is very tough. You got to know the matchup. If I have the shift Clarabelle in my hand, do I try to force that Clarabelle to come out? Am I able to build tempo if I don't play for Rafiki, right? And then comes turn 2. Which matchup is Banzai good on? Because obviously this gets banished by what do you call this? By the 3-cost song Let the Storm Rage On. It's so easy to banish, or by Baboom, or even Fire the Cannons, right? So which matchup do we actually bounce? Which matchup do we play the Banzai? Which matchup do we play the Ursula? Mother Gothel, you never play this on 2. You only play this if one of these is not in your hand. And the thing is, the idea of the deck as well, if you don't have the perfect tool, is the other tool that you have good enough. Now, Mother Gothel is not the best 2-cost drop, but it has a 1/3 body that's still able to survive some steal stuff, which means by turn 3, if they exert some stuff, then you can still bounce it back with a Fox, and basically you had a free target with the Fox, and you can take out some stuff, and maybe Mother Gothel can also quest, and then you bounce it back with the Fox, and now you have the Mother Gothel ready for turn 5, right? Or you can just buff Mother Gothel because, again, she can survive a lot of pings, and she's a great target for the crab. And now go into turn 3, we have Kid Cloud Kicker, we have Lyle Tiberius Rourke, we have the Fox, we have the Crabs. You just have so much tools. Do you want to play for tempo that turn? Then let's play Kid Cloud Kicker. Let's bounce some of their dudes back. Let's bounce some of the characters back so we can take the board. And then I'm going to quest. And as they try to exert and trade, I'm going to go ahead and play some Lyle Tiberius Rourke on turn 4. So if they try to trade against me, they're going to lose a lore, right? I'm going to slow them down while I'm trying to poke here and there. And then Lyle, obviously, it's just a really great card right now. It stops Flaversham from questing. It forces a lot of cards to, if they don't have songs, it forces them to just trade, right? And also, we have, what do you call this? We have the Fox and Merlin Crab that's just really good against fast decks, fast greedy decks. These are the cards that punishes it. And yeah. Going to 4 costs, we have Merlin Goat, we have Merlin Rabbit. For turn 4, it's just your staple purple stuff, right? But with the amount of 2 costs as well that you have, there's a lot of plays where you just play 2 costs, or 1 3 cost and another 1 cost, because you're trying to burn your hand as fast as you can, especially when you have Clarabelle. And of course, if you don't have Clarabelle in your hand, you don't burn your hand as fast as you can. You play a crab on turn 4, or a rabbit on turn 4 to try to reload your hand. And then we have on turn 5, we have an Elsa, and we also have Cricky. In a deck where it's playing for tempo, a lot of the times by turn 5, you will usually have 3, maybe 4 characters on the board. And Cricky just gets so much value from that because you now +3, +3, +3, +3 every single character on your board, and now they can take out anything that they want. And at the same time as well, let's not forget, Creaky is a 3/4 body that can quest for 3. That's just an ultra megatonic body that is left on the board. At the same time, it just allows you to play for some more tempo. And once you grab the tempo, they have to answer Creaky. Otherwise, you're going to exert, and just keep questing. Now, we also have Elsa over here because Elsa just does everything. Elsa does everything. She has rush, she has evasive, and she can exert a chosen character. Now, it's only a 2 damage character, right? This is a 2 strength character that is super thick, by the way, that has 5 willpower. But at the same time, if you built a board, right, you have a lot of characters, Elsa can pretty much exert anything, and then the crab will take it, or the fox will take it, or multiple of those cards will take it and trade for it. And that's what makes Elsa great. I see a lot of lists run 4 of this. Again, the deck is all about having different tools, and also it's all about just ultra megatonic flexibility, and it relies on the pilot. The deck might not be the best deck, but if the pilot is a great pilot, this deck turns into an ultra megatonic deck. I'm like 85% deck with this win rate right now with 76 games, close to 80 now. And yeah, if you know your matchups, you can slice and dice with this deck. And also, Mother Gothel. We have Mother Gothel right here. Let's not forget, this is also a turn 5 play. Flexibility. Again, speaking of flexibility, a great shift target for the big Gothel if you wanted to play the big Gothel on 4. And also, if this is still in your hand by turn 5, it's a 1/3 body that's inkable, and that just say, here's some other no spaz with this body. You take the tempo on the board. Again, it's all about taking the tempo. Exert, and quest when you're not trading. And then, once they started trading, then answer that. And then after you answer that, then exert, and quest again. That's how you play this deck. It's offense and defense simultaneously. Just switching back and forth. And then we also have a turn 6 here, the Mother Gothel, the big Gothel that can shift for 4. I love this card. It's a nice surprise gift for your opponent, right? You can shift the Gothel. It returns one of their cards back, and it's also a 4/6 body. It's huge. And it can quest for 2. If you need more lore and you're trying to race, then you shift the Gothel and then you do this. But also on turn 6, once you already have tempo and they try to come back on the game, just drop the Gothel. Drop the Gothel and quest, right? Or take out some of their characters if they're exerted, and if they have an unexerted character, take those off, then play the Gothel. And then whatever's left off, quest with them. And then we have Clarabelle as well. Of course, this is just an ultra megatonic card. A lot of you guys might ask, why only 3 Clarabelles? And that's because 3 is enough. Again, it's all about flexibility with this. We're not playing for Clarabelle, right? There are decks where you don't need Clarabelle. Why? Because they are much faster than you. They're burning their cards faster than you, and Clarabelle is not going to get ultra megatonic value. So we use this on the ones against decks that can draw a lot. And also, don't forget, if Clarabelle can draw 1, it's already value for you, so you should play for that. Also, last but not the least, Ursula, Sea Witch Queen. A lot of the list out there right now with Emerald, what do you call this? Amethyst is running 3 of this, and I'm not opposed to that. I prefer 2. I prefer 2 of these. Like what I said, it's just flexibility. If I'm only running 2 of these and I'm only running 3 Clarabelles, then that's 2 cards that I could be running to just help me get the tempo all the time during turn 1 to 5 or during turn 1 to 6, right? And also, this is the ultra megatonic spice of this. A lot of people were sleeping on this, but I've been doing my best to put this on people's radar. I post it everywhere on my socials and say that do not sleep on this. Sure, the great players know how great this card is, but a lot of people were not running it because they weren't sure how good this card is. There's just matchups where you just drop this and you basically win. people don't know how to play against it. They can't trade all the time as they please. They have to play, once you drop this and they don't have a removal for it, they have to play a certain way in order to be able to win against you. And then we have 4 friends on the other side, of course, and you're welcome. It's just super, super flexible. Again, you can use it for your characters to draw if you don't have the Clarabelle, but if you have the Clarabelle, why not get the tempo? You give your opponents 2 draws, but you also get 2 draws extra for your Clarabelle, right? Next one is library. Library is just super nice to have as an insurance. A lot of the times you ink this card, it's inkable, but against red or against just decks that has removals, play this on 6 or play it on a turn where you can start putting your bodies in there. And it has 8 willpower. That's what makes it amazing. It has 8 willpower. And then you have the Queen's Castle as well, which is just self-explanatory. This card just goes vroom vroom. You have to play it on the right moment though. Don't hold this in your hand. Ink it if you draw it on the first like 2-3 turns, right? Unless it's obvious that it can be a castle turn for you on turn 4. It's great against blue-red still. Again, Cusco, I don't mind if you Cusco my castle. I got an extra ink. And now I'm catching up with the ink against you, against a ramp deck. And at the same time as well, Queen's Castle just punishes be prepared. You be prepared, the next turn I will play Queen's Castle and another character. And attack you from multiple directions, right? Other than that, we can go back to Clarabelle because we didn't say the pay 2 for this. This is, again, just so much tools. Flexibility. You can play this as on turn 1 and set up for your shift Clarabelle, but also this is just really, really, really ultra megatonic, and you can pay extra 2. Banish one of their items. Banish that dime. Banish that quill. Right? It's just super, super flexible. Again, this is one of my favorite decks that I ever cooked and played, and I am so happy and proud to see all these players playing it. On Malmo, it got 6th place, right? And on CCS, it got 6th place, and in Malmo, it got 1st and 4th place. Other than that, that's pretty much it with this thing. Again, quick summary: meta is playing for the fast decks, so don't play fast decks if you can avoid it, right? The meta is going to be against you. You're going to have a tough day. You're going to have a tough day. Again, this deck right here, this is not a true aggro deck. This is a mid-grow deck. So you can say that, well, Earl, there's the aggro right there. This is a mid-grow deck. You got to understand it has mid-range aspects that makes it able to survive those decks that are trying to punish the fast decks, right? What you should be doing, or my advice on what to do when you're building the deck, is read the decks right now that are trying to punish these fast decks, and then punish those people that's trying to punish those fast decks. Find the sweet ground. It's gonna be really, really complicated. It's gonna be really, really, really hard, but that is the meta right now. The control decks are adjusting. The mid-range decks are adjusting. Because aggro has finally joined, and they're setting up the pace for the meta. Other than that, I hope you guys learned something from this Meister Meta Breakdown. I hope that this breakdown for the set 5 meta has helped you out. Again, there's a lot of different decks that we should still be aware of, right? Blurple is hovering around. You gotta be careful with that. Blue-green as well. I'm not big on blue-green. I think it's a super inconsistent deck. When it hits, it feels good, but does it always hit? It doesn't. So the blue-green deck, but if you play that and you like to have fun with that, go ahead. But this video right here is Meister Meta Breakdown. It's all about talking about what is the one that's getting played the most, and also which are the decks that's finding a lot of success. Again, thank you guys for always supporting the show. Thank you guys for supporting the stream. and the videos. I haven't published anything ever since I got the partnership for YouTube. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that a lot. I can't thank you guys anymore. More than that, I don't know what to say. Honestly, I'm running out of English here, and my English is probably doesn't sound right anymore. But I will see you guys this week a lot. We're back in YouTube. I prepared 9 different deck profiles for you guys to see for all the decks that I brewed. Some of them are meta decks, some of them are fun decks, some of them are rogue decks, and I hope you guys enjoy the content that we're going to be posting pretty soon. Other than that, don't forget to follow us on Twitch, and also smash that like, subscribe, and bell button. Don't forget to comment down below your thoughts about the meta, or just leave an emoji, because it helps. I will see you guys on the next video, and I hope you guys are enjoying set 5 as much as I do. Peace!